Good morning, you guys. I know it just when I say just, it just turned 12 o'clock. So technically, I kind of started at like 11:59, so I can still say good morning. So good morning. Welcome to Coffee with Liv. I'm Olivia, and this is my series where I come on live stream and talk to you guys. We just have a little casual chit chat. I'm going live every single day in the month of May. Today is day 3. Wow, pat myself on the back. Today's day 3. I have my coffee right here. I'm about to finish doing my hair. That's why I look half done. But I have my coffee. This is hot coffee today. I think today's the first day, that I'm having hot coffee on Coffee with Liv. This is just some drip brewed Maxwell House coffee. And I put oat milk and sugar in it, my usual. Tasting really good. Like I said, I know I look halfway done. That's because I only did half of my hair so far. But today we're going to be talking about being ghosted by a recruiter. It's one thing to be ghosted by like a love interest, someone that maybe you were planning on going on a date with, or being ghosted by a friend who forgot that you guys had made plans to hang out or something. It's another thing to be ghosted by a recruiter when you're just trying to find a job. You're in a place of need. They didn't make a promise to help you, but they're kind of there to help you in this process. And they leave you out to dry. Now, I've been ghosted by a recruiter actually more than once. When I was looking for the email that I'm going to talk about in here, I was looking for one email, and then I remembered I had another interaction with a recruiter, or let me see what her job title was. This woman, she reached out to me and ended up ghosting me. So that's actually the one that I want to talk about, because the other one, I can go over briefly. The first time that I got ghosted, this was a few months ago. I think this had happened in like January maybe, and I applied to a job. I think I found it on LinkedIn. I applied to a job, sent my resume. I'm pretty sure I sent a cover letter, did that whole shebang, waited weeks and weeks and weeks, and they finally reached out to me. The recruiter sent me an email. She said, "Hey, Olivia," this is just going off of memory because I realized I deleted it because I was like upset, didn't want to think about it. I wanted it like out of sight, out of mind after the whole thing was done. So she was like, "Hey, Olivia, got your resume, your cover letter, it looked good. Hey, would you like to jump on a call? We can do a little phone screening." So I didn't even make it to the interview part. She wanted to do a phone screening, which is normal, and I do phone screenings all the time. First phone screening, you speak to the recruiter, and that will determine whether they want to pass your information off to the hiring manager. So, in the grand scheme of things, you apply to a job, or at least in my field and the the job listings that I've come across, you apply to the job, you send your resume, you send your cover letter, you wait. If the hiring person is interested in you, the recruiter, they will email you or call you, and they'll ask to set up an appointment for a phone screening. So then for the phone screening, you speak to that person on the phone, the person who listed the job. You speak to them on the phone. It's usually like a 10-15 minute call. It's very, very like general, very broad. It's just like a, "Hey, tell me about yourself, and can you tell me about this role that I see on your resume." It's the phone screenings that I've done have never been super detailed. They just want to make sure you're a real person, make sure it sounds like your resume is truthful, that you can explain the things that are on your resume, but not in detail. This is just a little casual phone call. Um, I've done those a million and one times. They do still make me as nervous as like a regular interview does. But then after you do the phone screening, they say, "Okay, it was nice speaking to you. I'll pass this along to the hiring manager, and if we're interested, we'll reach back out to you." Sometimes you hear from them, sometimes you don't. That's fine. That's normal to not hear from somebody after a screening. That's just how it goes these days. But with this specific job, this is a marketing firm, a very well-known marketing firm. So the fact that they had reached out to me um, via email to set up the phone screening, I was like over the moon, excited, like, yes, I knew I had it in me. I knew I could get, the attention of like a big name agency. So I had responded to her email. I said, yes, I'm interested. Sure, let's set this up. I think we set up the phone screening for like maybe 3 or 4 days away from when she contacted me. I noticed that a lot of times these phone screening emails, they will, to set up, they will contact you on like Thursday or Friday or something. And so it just so happens that I always end up scheduling them for like the Monday or a Tuesday. So that's why there's a few days gap. So I said, yes, I'd love to speak. Da, da, da. She said, okay, great. Here's a little exercise. If you could just do this exercise, this writing prompt or something like that. And by the time we speak on the phone, we can, discuss that a little bit too. I said, okay, that's fine. I did the writing prompt. You're supposed to send back the writing prompt like as soon as possible. And then you do the phone screen, like I said, a few days later. So I did the prompt. It wasn't too bad, but all of the prompts or exercises that these recruiters and hiring managers will send you, like they suck. They suck to do because you're not getting paid for it. Sometimes you might have certain questions and you don't really want to ask them questions because it'll show that you don't, maybe you don't know something that you need to answer. But that wasn't the case here. This exercise was pretty straightforward. It wasn't too detailed. If I remember correctly, it probably took me maybe like an hour or two to complete, which is kind of long in my opinion. But I did it. I sent it back. We had the phone screening scheduled for, say, that Tuesday. Tuesday comes. You guys may know I have a dog. I put my dog in my room. I close the door because I'm like, oh, he just has to be in there for like 10, 15 minutes, but I don't want him to bark. I get everything set up. I'm calming my nerves. I'm going over my notes, going over my resume, going over my cover letter. I'm looking at the writing prompt prompt because that might be some things that they ask me about on the phone screen. The time comes. I think we had the appointment set for like 12 p.m. or maybe 1 o'clock. I'm sitting there waiting for the call, checking my phone. I'm like, okay, she should be calling anytime now. The nerves, they nowhere to be found. But by like, say 12:05, I'm like, okay, this isn't really normal. Like usually they'll reach out if they're running late. I check my emails. Like maybe she told me she needed to reschedule. No biggie. I'm coming up with all these excuses because I really want to have this phone screening. I really want this job. I really want this phone screening. So I'm waiting. 12:10 comes around. I'm like, maybe she's held up in like a meeting or she had a phone screening before me because that has happened before as well. The recruiter was late to the phone screening. They say, oh, I was on a call with another potential hire. It happens. I'm a very forgiving person. But when 12:15 rolls around, I'm like, do I wait or do I just forget about it, go about my day? But again, you're in that place of, yeah, I'll say it, like desperation essentially, because you want this job. So I'm like, any other person, if you're supposed to be calling me at 12, I haven't heard from you and it's 12:15, I would just be done. But I was like, you know what? Let me just give it like 2 more minutes. I gave her 5 minutes. 12:20, nothing. 12:25, nothing. By 12:30, that's when I was like, okay, I can't wait any longer. Like I said, my dog is held up in the room so that he wouldn't bark. He's getting antsy. I feel bad. So I sent her an email and I said, hey, I was, waiting for your call at 12. I understand if something came up and you just need to reschedule. What time works for you? Because I didn't want to be accusatory. I didn't want to make it seem like I was upset or angry, even though I was at that point, I was like pissed off because having someone wait for 30 minutes. And I know I take some responsibility. I didn't have to wait for 30 minutes. I could have been done 5 minutes after our scheduled time. But I wanted I guess, to give her a second chance, or I wanted her to give me a second chance. So I was like, if you need to reschedule, that's fine. Like, what day works for you? I'm open tomorrow between these hours. Y'all, she didn't even respond to my email. No response. No response. So I was ghosted. That was the very first time that I had like literally been ghosted. I had heard people say, especially in this era of job hunting and hiring and all that, I heard people say that these recruiters are out here ghosting people. And it happened to me. After that, didn't hear anything from her. And that's the end of that time that I was ghosted. So then, whatever. I was upset like that day just because she wasted my time. But I made a decision. I'm not going to let it, get me too upset. It happens. Things happen. I don't know. Maybe something catastrophic happened to her. And here I am thinking she just stood me up. Whatever. Not my problem. The job wasn't for me. So I went back to applying for jobs. And maybe, I think 2 months after that. Yeah, a month after. This was in February. This past February, I applied for a job, and I still have the email so I can reference these emails. I applied for a job, something in the marketing, the world of marketing. And I believe, no, I don't know what the role is, so I don't want to tell you guys the wrong thing. But I applied for a job, didn't hear back from the company. That was fine. It happens all the time. But a few weeks after that, I got an email from someone from, again, this is a separate company, separate situations. The first situation is done for. But I applied for a different role with a different company and didn't hear anything back from them. But then their, director of HR, that's a big deal. The director of HR is reaching out to me personally by email. She emailed me and said, "Hi, Olivia. Thanks so much for reaching out regarding the role that I originally applied for. We do have an opportunity for this position. It's a different position. It's not really up my alley, but it's something that I can do. I'll just say it. It's for an account executive position. So a PR account executive position." And she said, "And I was wondering if you would be interested. First thing I wanted to mention, as you are located in the US," she was outlining like certain like regulatory things because the company is headquartered in a different country. It's headquartered in Europe. So she said, looking back, it's kind of funny. Like, of course, I'm like kicking myself. She said, "Just to give you a little insight as to what you can expect during our hiring process. 1, questionnaire to be completed. 2, a writing exercise. 3, an interview with the director of HR, which is her. 4, speaking with references. 5, a final interview with our founder and CEO and the vice president. If this sounds of interest to you, the first step of the process is completing the questionnaire. Please do so here." And she had a link to a Google Doc. "Looking forward to hearing from you. All the best, da da da." So first thing I do, of course, because somebody is reaching out to me, first thing I do is I make sure it's legit. I've gotten phishing and scam emails before from, during my job hunt. So the first thing I did was look into it, make sure the email was legit. I did all that. It's legit. It really is the director of HR of this company reaching out to me. Now, one thing that was also a red flag was the fact that she said at some point I would be like interviewing with the CEO and founder and the VP. I've never had a job where I did an interview with the founder of a company, but when I looked into it, it is a small company, so it makes sense. A lot of small companies, they're like CEOs or their founders, if they're still in the company, they're very hands-on. They want to know all of the people that work for them, especially for an account executive position. Like, that's not that big of a deal. So I did my background research on this company, and I said, you know what, I'm going to go for it. If I want to stop at any point, I can. So I did the questionnaire. It was a Google Doc. From what I remember, it was pretty simple, straightforward, just asking a few questions about maybe my work history and, the typical questions. What made you apply to this company? Da, da, da. I was feeling good because they reached out to me. If you are in the whole job hunt situation right now, you're applying for jobs all day, day in and day out. And so the fact that a company reached out to me, I was like ecstatic, like, okay, maybe we got a little something, they're interested in me. They already saw my resume. They already saw the cover letter that I sent for that position. They like my credentials. So I feel like that is, you got a little step above maybe anybody else who would be hiring. And maybe they're giving me first dibs to this position. So I responded. I said, "Hi, thank you for reaching out. Yes, I'm interested in a position." And I completed the questionnaire. Greatly appreciate the insight on the hiring process. I appreciated that she outlined anything, because if I don't want to do all that, I could just say I'm not interested or just not respond. That's fine. But I did it. She said, "Hi, thank you for completing the questionnaire. I was wondering if you are at all negotiable on your salary expectations and what that range would look like." I said, "Yes, it's negotiable." I gave her a range. Now, the number that I gave her, I'm not going to share with you guys, but the number that I gave her was one number. And when I responded about the range, I gave her a range below that. So I put my expectation at the high point and I went down a good chunk. Like, this gives her a lot, or gives the company a lot of playroom. So she said, "Hi, everything seems like it's a great fit. We would love to move you on to the next stage of our hiring process. This will help you to better understand the day-to-day work that you'll be undertaking and some of the tasks that go into this role." Sounds good. So she said, "Attached, you'll find this questionnaire and an example and a whole exercise. Please fill it out to the best of your ability. Da da da. Please complete it and let me know if you have any questions." She didn't give a date that it needed to be returned to her, but obviously I'm working as quickly as I can. Like, I want the turnaround time to be on point. So let's see. She sent that on a day at 12 p.m. So midday, afternoon. I give it back to her at midnight that night, but midnight, because I had other things going on. I wasn't gonna like drop everything and just like do the exercise. It's a very, very detailed exercise. It took me hours. I know I said the other job that I applied for, I had to do an exercise. It took me like an hour or two. This one took me, with taking breaks and stuff, it took me probably like 4 or 5 hours, because it was multiple things. There was one writing exercise and there was one like marketing exercise, and it took me hours to do. So like I said, I sent it back to her around midnight that night, and I said, "Here's my completed exercise and the other thing that I had to do. Let me know if you have any questions." She responded at 4 a.m., 4 hours after I sent it back. She said, "Thanks for sending this over. We will review and get back to you soon." Let me repeat. She said, "Thanks for sending this over. We will review and get back to you soon. Best wishes." I said, "Great. Thank you so much." Because I never want to leave it, where the recruiter, she is the last person to respond. I always respond so that I'm not the last one to have touched our interaction. It's on her to then respond to me. So I said, "Great. Thank you so much." Just letting her know that I acknowledge that she received my exercises. Y'all think I ever heard back from her ever again? No. And that was in February. And now we're in May. And when I finish this stuff, I like to let it go, because if not, I will think about it like for days and days and weeks and obsess about like, when are they going to respond to me? So it's out of sight, out of mind kind of thing again. And I didn't even really think about it again until a few weeks ago. And I was like, you know what? She never responded. Like, I want to give them time, because sometimes it does take, like, it can take a month for a company to get back to you after something like that. But I was like, you know what? I never heard back from her. And I was tempted, and I still am tempted, to just respond to the email like, "Hi, just checking on the status of this. Like, hey, just want to know," because at this point, I know I'm not getting that job. So not that I'm trying to be petty, but these recruiters, they need to understand that people are looking for a job. They're expecting the bare minimum, which is communication. If I wasn't a great fit for this role, that is completely okay. But let me know that y'all have filled it, and we can break ties and that's it. But no, didn't hear back from her again. At this point, those two bad experiences have left kind of a sour taste in my mouth, because I'm like, the amount of work, like I said, hours of work to put in to possibly get someone's attention, and it amounts to nothing. I know people will say, oh, it's, just don't give up, like do it. And this is all a part of the process, but it is a bit demoralizing to put in all this like blood, sweat, tears, time, and not hear back from a recruiter. All it took was a simple email saying, hey, we decided to go on with another candidate. Even if they sent a generic, like automated message, hello, we have filled this position. Thank you for your time. That would be fine. But now I think I'm done with the whole, writing exercises. I'm not doing those that work for free. If it's maybe a questionnaire or something simple, yes, I will do that. But if it's a detailed, like the one that I was just talking about, that was work. Like they had me doing basically a day's worth of work and sending that to them for free. I know some people might say, oh, they might have used you for free labor and now they use your work. I don't think that that's the case in this circumstance. She did say that this is not, a real client of theirs. And, she gave a disclaimer and all that. And just the way that it was written, I'm like, I could tell it was information from like 10 years ago. But still, I did all of that work. I didn't get paid for it. I don't get my time back. They didn't have the decency to update me on anything. So, yeah, I was ghosted by that recruiter. I was ghosted by that other recruiter. There are other times where I'm ghosted by recruiters, but it's not so in depth. Like just a few weeks ago, I was contacted by someone for like one of my dream jobs. And she said, hey, we think this would be a good fit. I'm just paraphrasing. She said, hey, I think you would be a nice fit. What are your salary expectations? What is your current pay? What did she say? What Something about my experience, like my most recent experience. It was just like general questions like that. And she wrote that on LinkedIn. So this was very casual. I responded, didn't hear back from her. It sucks and it stings because I really wanted that position. But hey, if we're not a good fit, we're not a good fit. She didn't respond. That's fine. But when you go through hours and hours of doing this work for a company in hopes, crossing your fingers that they will move you on to the next step and they don't, it stings. It stings a little. So if you're in this job hunt like me and you've been ghosted by a recruiter, by a hiring manager, by a director of HR, you know how this feels. Let me know if this has ever happened to you. I think I'm done with like I said, I'm done with the exercises, the writing prompts. The positions that I'm looking for are in the world of writing and editing and communications, PR, all of that. I'm working with words. So it's expected that some of these companies will want to send you these prompts. But at this point, I've seen other people say it like, if I see that there's an exercise involved, I just won't apply. I'm going to start taking that approach because it's too much. When I think about the time from that I could have put towards just applying to like 5 other jobs and possibly getting them, I'm like, yeah, that could have been time saved. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this little chat. I took my hair out, but I left this little twist in because for some reason, my hair here doesn't get as defined. Like even when I use gel and stuff, it's the first part to like really frizz up and lose definition opposed to the hair here. So I'm going to take this out last. I'm about to get ready for the day. I have to head out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little chat. I hope you guys are enjoying your coffee because I enjoyed mine. I'm like halfway done. Not finished, but I'm halfway done. I'm going to finish this and enjoy the rest of my day. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for joining me today at Coffee with Liv. If you guys have any topics that you guys want to see me cover, let me know. And as always, I'll see you tomorrow around the same time, in the same place. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.